The name Christopher is used in a number of different languages. While these languages represented many different cultures, the meaning of the name Christopher has always meant bearer of Christ. In fact, it's speculated that Christopher is actually not a name at all, but more of a title. While the early Christians used this title metaphorically, expressing that they carried Christ in their hearts, St. Christopher quite literally carried Christ Jesus. It is disputed if St. Christopher, a man from the 3rd century, existed. However, there are many stories and legends about a giant saint who eventually was martyred in Asia Minor. The most common and famous account of St. Christopher is a tale of a man striving for holiness, but not fully aware of how to use his gifts. After consulting a spiritual director of sorts, he was told to pray and fast. However, with his tall stature of over 7 feet and a large body, fasting was very difficult. He went back to his mentor and apologized for his shortcoming. But his mentor looked kindly on St. Christopher and had another idea. There was a river nearby with a strong current that routinely blocked the passage of many travelers. The problem was that many people couldn't cross and would drown instead. St. Christopher, however, was blessed with the physical attributes that made crossing the river easy. He built a hut to live in on the bank and carried the weary travelers across. One day, a mysterious child came and asked for a ride. St. Christopher began his normal ferry service, but found the load to be very burdensome. Upon crossing the river and nearly collapsing into the water, St. Christopher told the child if there was any more weight, he wouldn't have been able to carry on. At that point, the child told him not to worry because the one who watched over Christopher carried all the burdens of the world. Then the child told Christopher he had helped God. The realization came to the saint that the child he had delivered across the river was Jesus Christ. Once this significant event occurred, Christopher began to evangelize those around him. He came to the town of Lycia in Asia Minor and began to serve the Christians who were being killed for their faith. He was arrested, but told that he needed to make a sacrifice to the emperor. His enemies tried to break him by bribing him with money and women. When a couple of ladies came to tempt him, Christopher managed to convert them to Christ. After this, it was decided that St. Christopher should die. However, many attempts on his life failed. Eventually, he was beheaded. Although it's disputed whether St. Christopher was a man or legend, there are many lessons that can be learned from the story of the man who was given the title Christ Bearer. Redemption, courage, service, sacrifice, and resilience are all qualities one must have to follow Christ, or in some cases, to bear Christ to the world.